Hello there folks, and thanks for joining me once again. And the fly I'm going to tell you this time around is a little bit different. I don't know how many of you out there fish bass, warm water fish, but occasionally I get up to the lake and fly fish for bass, and this is a little woolly bugger. It's a all purple woolly bugger. It doesn't have a bead, and I've had a lot of luck with this purple bugger over the years when I do go out and fly fish for bass, so I thought I'd share this time around in case there's somebody that does some fly fishing for bass and would like to give this guy a try. And I'm pretty sure if you tie it up you'll definitely have some luck on it, because it works for me when I give it a go. So I'll get this guy a device here, a fresh hook in, and we'll get started. Now the hook I'm using is a mustad 9672 in a size 6, and I tie this bugger from a 4 down to an 8 usually, but I just chose the number 6 this time around for the video. Okay, and for thread I'm using UTC 140 in black. And first thing we'll do is start a little ways behind the eye here, and we'll get a nice layer of thread down, and we'll work back towards our barb here, and I'll stop usually just in front of the barb. Okay, and we'll snip our tag end thread off. Now, tail is simply some purple marabou here, and I've got a purple marabou palm ready here. And I'll just wet my fingers because I want to get that nice and wet there. It's a lot easier to work with as you're tying it in and whatnot. Okay, I'm going to measure that up, and I like the tail to be the length of the whole hook pretty much, and we'll bring that back. And we'll tie it in with a pinch loop. I'll come up and pull straight up on that, and we'll make about 2 more wraps there. Alrighty, now just going to fold that back. I'm going to put a little weight on this guy, and I'm just using some 0.15 lead wire. I'm going to start about 3/4 of the way up and work towards the eye, probably 10 or 12 wraps or so. Usually stop where I started my thread there. Then we'll come back a few more wraps. I suppose if you count them it could be more than that, but okay, next we'll move ahead to just behind the lead there. Bring the marabou forward once again. I'm going to tie it down, come around with the thread like so, and I'm going to wrap back and secure that all down nice and tight. And I'll grab this extra here in the front here and give it a little twist and trim that out of there. Okay, alrighty, so the next step is some flash, and for the flash I'm using purple crystal flash. For some reason this looked blue on my camera, but trust me, it is purple. Okay. Now, give that a little. Now we'll tie that in the same way we would on any bugger. 3 strands I'm using, 3 on each side. So I'll start down one side here, fold over the other, bring it across to the other side, just like so. And that gives us 3 on each side there. Okay, and we'll trim that. It looks kind of funny now while it's wet, but once it dries it'll look good. Alrighty. Okay, now we'll move forward again to behind the lead. Just going to trim a few more of them marabou fibers out of there. Okay. Next is the wire I'm going to tie in. That's going to hold our hackle in when we're wrapping, after we wrap our hackle. Okay, I'll tie that on the first side of the hook. Down around a little ways, just like so. And move forward again. This time I'm going to wrap up over top the lead and secure it, and back again, just like so. Okay, next step is to tie in our body, and I have some purple chenille here, and I don't know why that's looking blue, but it's not, it's purple. And I'm just going to pull off some of the fuzzies here. expose the thread core. And we'll tie that in here on my side. Back to in front of the tail once again. And we're going to come all the way up to where we want to tie everything off. Alright, now I'm going to throw in a half hitch. Just going to use my rotary here, swing that around. And before I wrap the body, for a little extra durability, as you know, I like to tie durable flies. I know I say that all the time, but okay, a little bit of sap gap there. Okay, now we'll grab our chenille and we'll begin to wrap our body here. I'm just going to take one wrap and then I'm really going to snug down on that, pull tight, and then we'll begin to wrap our body. And we'll just wrap up to our tie-off point, which is right there. Swing that back out of the way. Just tie off the chenille now. Swing underneath, come in front with a couple wraps, underneath, around, the back, over the top, and then wrap back to lock it in place. Okay. Trim it off nice and close with my scissors here. And there's our body. Okay. Yeah, a couple more wraps there to make sure that's locked in good. And sometimes I'll even just trim a little bit of them fibers off the chenille under the hook point there, just to get a little more hook gap there. Okay. Next is our hackle, and I have a nice purple saddle hackle here ready to tie in. Sized it up for the hook, the length that I want the fibers, and we'll tie that in here in front. Just like so, and I always fold those stems back to lock them in good. Trim off the excess. Okay. Now we'll begin to wrap our hackle. And I'll simply take one turn right where I tied it in at. I always like to make at least one or two there, then we'll proceed rearward. And just try to make evenly spaced wraps as you go back, like you would on any bugger. Okay, now I'm going to grab my hackle pliers here before that slips out of my fingers. Alrighty. Yeah, that's looking pretty good there. We'll come back up around. Oops, bumped the camera, sorry folks. And we'll tie that off. I'm going to bring my wire around, catch that in. Okay. Now we'll just proceed to wiggle that wire forward. Evenly spaced wraps, even as you possibly can. I don't think the fish are going to worry too much about that, the bass. And we'll come to the front of the eye of the hook. Make one extra turn there. Then I'm going to catch that in. Our wire. And I'm going to give it a little helicopter off. Just like so. Okay, fold that back. And we'll make a few wrap back to lock everything in here for now. Okay, that's looking good. Alright, come back and trim off your hackle tip at the rear. And there we have it. It's pretty much done deal. Just a simple bugger, a little bugger that works good for bass. Okay. Alrighty. So now all we got left to do is build a little head on this guy. And he's a done deal. Alright, just smooth that out a little bit. Alrighty, that's pretty much it, folks. Just got to throw in our whip finish, and he's done. A little bit of UV resin on the head. Okay, so we'll get a 3 or 4 turn whip finish in on him there. There we go. Nice and tight there. Trim off the excess. Alrighty. just gotta move that forward a little more. There we go. And I'll just give that a little comb out here with the brush. Sometimes that'll, if you get any trapped fibers, that'll get them out for you. A little Velcro brush here that I use. That looks pretty good. Alrighty. So like I was saying, if you do fly fish for bass and that, just tie, if you can, tie a few of these little purple buggers up and throw them in the box. No harm, no foul. So now I'll just take a little of my UV bone dry resin here, and we'll go around on the head of this guy. One thing about this bone dry, it's a real thin resin. It soaks in the thread wraps good. So once you cure it, it really makes a nice secure hit on the fly. Okay, we'll zap that with the light. Only takes a few seconds, 10 to 15 seconds to cure this. Alrighty, there we go. Done deal. So, I want to thank you all for watching once again. I really appreciate that a lot. And if this is the first time viewing my channel, and if you haven't subscribed yet, you might want to consider subscribing. I'd appreciate that a lot if you do. And even if you just want to throw in a like, appreciate that too. So, until next time everyone, happy tying out there. I shall see you all again soon. And so long for now, folks.